Hey guys, how's it going? So today we're going to jump into a discussion on comparative adjectives. And just as a quick reminder, an adjective is a word which will describe or modify a noun. And as a further reminder, a noun is always a person, place, or thing. So, all right, some examples of adjectives, some very basic ones that I give here are going to be cold and hot. And then we've got tall and then short. And again, it's not limited to these examples. There's a whole host of other examples you can provide for adjectives. But we're going to go ahead and just jump straight in. Now, a comparative adjective is going to, again, compare, as it says in its name, two different things. So two things specific. Two things specific. If I were to compare myself to my twin brother, I could say, oh, I am a minute older than he is. Or maybe if he is taller, which he's not, I would say, oh, he's taller than I am, right? I would be shorter than he is. And you notice that I'm using ER to end quite a few of these examples. And my cat's in the background, so everyone's privy to that meowing. So I'll use a comparative for Mr. Chunks. He is louder today than yesterday. Mr. Chunks? Hi. You're interrupting. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So there's a few rules that we want to go over when it comes to the spelling of comparative words, or comparative adjectives. Specifically, when the adjective has one syllable, typically, and again, there's always going to be exceptions because this is English, where you learn one rule and find out later that that rule is completely useless. Not really, but you get my point, or frustration. Loud car. All right, so for words that are one syllable, or adjectives, which are one syllable, you're gonna add ER to that word. Mr. Chunks, please. So the examples I give are like old, long, thick, short, and new. These are all these are all one syllable adjectives. And for these, you just add ER to the end if you're using them to compare two different things. So looking at new, I would say, his phone is newer than mine, or my pen. This pen is thicker than my pencil, whatever. Pretty basic. Now, it gets a little bit more complex with the more syllables you add to the words, which we're going to talk about right now. So if your adjective has two or more syllables, what you'll end up doing, and again, there will be an exception, which I've highlighted in yellow, what you'll end up doing with your adjective with two or more syllables is you will have to use more or less when applying that adjective as a comparative. So like the example I give is serious. I'm going to put this down for a second. I'm going to clap out the syllables for serious. Serious. All right, I count 3, which means it applies to this rule of 2 or more. So I couldn't say he is seriouser compared to me. Wouldn't work. Instead, I would have to say he is more serious, or perhaps he is less serious. Colorful, same thing. Maybe I saw a movie and another movie, and one was all in black and white. So I can say, oh, the movie in color was much more colorful than the black and white movie. So I'm not going to say it was colorful-er, right? No, I wouldn't add ER because it wouldn't apply in this case. Difficult, same thing. More difficult or less difficult. Popular, you can be more popular or less popular, but you can't be popular-er. All right, now the spelling of comparative adjectives. So there's a couple rules, actually multiple rules, which you will need to remember just in general when it comes to spelling in English. We use what's called the CVC, or consonant, vowel, consonant structure when it comes to the spelling of our words. Specifically at the final 3 letters of a word. So I give some examples like big. Ooh, and actually I should probably address the fact that we may not remember what a vowel is. Well, a vowel, which I'm going to write in my neatest handwriting, a vowel is simply A, E, I, O, and U. And so when I refer to consonants, I'm referring to any letter in the alphabet that is not a vowel. So if it's not an A, if it's not an E, if it's not an I, if it's not an O, if it's not a U, it's a consonant. So, all right, looking again at my example for the first word, which is big, I have a consonant followed by a vowel followed by a consonant. Now, if I'm going to use the word big as an adjective to compare something like, oh, my car is bigger than my phone, right? I couldn't say it is bigger by spelling it with ER, even though it fits the rule we just talked about where it's one syllable, you just add ER. Not for the spelling of a CVC word. No. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that. And instead, what you have to do is you need to double the final consonant, and then you can add ER. So I'm going to double that. I'm going to double that final consonant, and that consonant is G. So I'm going to write B-I-G-G. There's my doubled consonant. Then ER, right? Same thing for small, where you're like, huh, okay, look at those final three letters. I've got vowel, consonant, consonant. So I can already see, okay, well, it ends with two consonants. So I don't actually need to double anything else because it's already a double. So in this case, I would just add ER. So I would write small, hot. So I've got consonant, vowel, consonant. Ooh, but it's only one consonant at the end, so I know I need to double it. So I'm gonna write H-O-T, T, and that's my doubled consonant, followed by ER. Cold. I'm looking at those final three letters, and I have I have a vowel, consonant, followed by another consonant. No need to double. So I'm gonna write cold, and then simply attach ER. Sorry, my cat is doing its best to get my attention. Now, continuing the conversation on spelling, words that end in a Y will actually need to be replaced. So you're going to take the letter Y and you're going to replace it with the letter I. Then you can append or add ER to it. So changing it to an I, and then I'm going to go ahead and add ER, happier. Heavy, same thing. Drop the Y, change it to an I, then add ER. Scary, who would have guessed? I'm going to drop the Y, replace the Y, and then with an I, and add ER. Okay, so I appreciate your focus and your attention during today's lesson, where we just kind of jumped into some basics about comparative adjectives. Do you know what? I totally forgot to mention something. You're gonna have to forgive me. I actually forgot to mention this earlier, but there are actually a few words which are two or more syllables, which end in ER when used comparatively. One of them is friendly. It ends with a Y, right? And you would say friendlier when comparing two different people, in this case, like one, or animals, whatever, like that cat is friendlier than the dog. But we're ending with ER. Despite the fact that I just said, oh, if it's two or more syllables, you can't do it. You got to say more or less, but not in this case. So if you know of any other additional exceptions, because there are plenty, it's not limited to just this example, feel free to leave it in the comments. It'll benefit us all. That being said, thank you for your attention. I appreciate you guys taking the moment to study a bit with me and review some of these grammatical concepts in English as we learn to navigate this language and as I learn to navigate this space on YouTube to try to deliver what I would otherwise do in a classroom. But since we're all social distancing, here we are. Anyway, thank you guys again, and I will say goodbye.